All right, hey guys. Yesterday you learned, if you remember, how to find the slope on a graph. Okay, you use the rise over run, you count your up, you count your over, you have your slope. Well, today we're learning how to find the slope when you're just given the points and you don't have a graph to use. So we're going to look at a couple of examples to learn how to do that. The first example says to find the slope of point A 24, B 612. And in order to do that, step one is going to be to stack those points up. Now, what I mean by that is very simple. You're going to stack them up. Okay. The next thing we have to do is we have to identify our y2, y1, x2, and x1 points. Now, if you remember, those are what are in our slope formula that we'll use here in a second. Okay. The way that we start identifying those is we put an x, a y, a 1, and a 2. Okay, once we have that, we are set up and we are ready to fill in to our slope formula or our slope equation. Okay, your slope equation looks just like this. It's your m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, don't let these numbers freak you out. These numbers just identify which point you're looking for here. They have no mathematical value whatsoever. So we're going to fill into our formula here. Okay, for y1, y from your first coordinate is going to be 4. So you fill in a 4. Then your y from your second coordinate is 12. You fill in a 12. So now you have 12 minus 4. Notice that minus just comes down with it, fills in there. Okay. From there, we're going to keep filling in. We're going to look at our x's. So the x from the first coordinate is 2. The x from the second coordinate is going to be 6. And voila, we have filled in to our equation there. Next is you simply solve and simplify. So what I mean by solve is you're going to work these out. Remember, you've got to do the things in the parentheses first. There's nothing to distribute here, so we don't have to do that part of our parentheses, but we do have to simplify what's in the parentheses. So you do 12 minus 4, you get 8. Then you're going to do 6 minus 2, and you get 4. From there, you just simplify your fraction, and you get 8 divided by 4 is 2. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Hold on a second. Oh, that was the next slide. Okay, yeah. So anyways, your slope here is 2. Sorry about that. Now, when we have to find slope given 2 points or a point and a slope, okay, and here we're going to actually fill this into our slope-intercept equation. So before we just found the slope, you found m. Now you're looking at how to fill it into your y equals mx plus b equation. The first one we're going to look at is how to solve the slope with 2 points. Okay, so to do that, we're going to look at an example. It says find the slope-intercept form of an equation for A, 2, 4, and B, 6, 12. As you notice, those are the same points that we used earlier. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we've got to use the slope-intercept form. We're going to fill in what we know. So if you remember, we already found the slope, so we do know that. We know that our slope was 2. So we fill in 2 for m. From there, you're going to fill in 1 of the given points for your x and y. It does not matter which one. You can take your pick of the two. I like to keep small numbers. I like to use the small point. That is not right. It's not wrong to use the other one. It's not more right. You get the exact same answer, but I like to keep my numbers smaller. So when you take that, you simply fill them in. We fill in our y here for y. You fill in your x for x. Okay, then you solve for your missing variable. Notice the variable that is missing is b. We know that b stands for y-intercept. So when we solve this, it will give us our y-intercept. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is we've got to do our 2 times 2. You get 4 equals 4 plus b. And then you are going to solve this equation just like normal. So we're going to subtract by 4 to get our variable by itself. And then you're left with 0 equals b. Okay, that makes 0 your y-intercept. So from there, once you have your y-intercept, you take your x and y out, take the numbers out and put the letters back in. That way we're back to having an actual equation with variables. So we're going to take what we know. We took this equation from up here, and then we took this version in the middle of it right here, and we filled in our b that we just found. We're going to take out, the x and the y, and you're simply going to be left with y equals 2x plus 0, or you could simplify that further to just y equals 2x. Either one of those is fine. Neither one is more right than the other. If you want to have the 0 on there so that you don't forget that that is your y-intercept, that's perfectly fine. If you want to get rid of it, you just know that it's a plus 0. You can add 0 to anything and it doesn't change it. Okay, there's one other one that we're going to look at here. It's how to find the slope when they give you 1 point and they give you the slope. So it's kind of like what we just did. We found the slope in the first step. Okay, but with this one, it's going to be different numbers, and we're going to be given the slope and be given a y-intercept, or not a y-intercept. We're going to have to find our y-intercept. We're going to be given a point. So to find slope-intercept form of an equation, for c, 5, 9, and m, our slope equals 3. So you're going to fill in what we know. We know that our slope is 3, or our m is 3, so you fill that in. And then we also know that we have a coordinate pair sitting right there. Okay, that coordinate pair is going to fill in for x and y very nicely. We're going to be down to 9 equals 2 times 5 plus b. From there, all you have to do, 3 times 5 plus b. Okay, so from there, all you have to do is you've got to fill in, solve for your missing variable. We're going to fill in what we know here. 3 times 5 we know is 15. And then you solve your equation. So you're going to subtract 15 on both sides. And that's going to leave you negative 6 equals b. And then we know everything now. So we're going to go back and we're going to take some things out of our equation so that we can get back to just our y equals mx plus b. So once we have our slope and our y-intercept, you take out the numbers, put your x and your y back in, and you're left with just your equation that you're looking for. So you put those numbers, put everything in, simplify. We should know by now that a plus negative 6 is the same thing as a minus 6. Okay? You take out your x and your y, and that right there is what you are left with. Okay, if you have any questions on any of this, do feel free to let me know. If you need help with the worksheet today, reach out. Okay, this stuff is very simple. It's not the same complex equations that you've been doing where you have variables on both sides. You only have a variable on one side in these. If you do end up with variables on both sides, we do know how to solve those. That's why we started with that. But you should be able to do really well on the worksheet today. Do your best on the word problems, and let me know if you need any help. Good luck, guys.